Hello and welcome to CGTN. I'm Serena Dong. So for those of you who've been watching our live streams through this year's 2 sessions, you might aware that today is the last day of this year's CPPCC, aka Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. So while the meeting is wrapping up, we're also about to wrap our coverage. But before that, let's just rewind some of the highlights of this year's sessions. So join me are my lovely colleagues, John Goodrich and Yang. Hey guys, how are you?
Hi Serena, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
You're lovely too.
Thank you. So how you feel by far?
It's been a busy 11 days so far, and as you said just now, the CPPCC ends today. We've got 2 more days of the NPC, so we're looking forward to what comes out of that, and we're looking forward to hearing from Dean about some of the highlights of the CPPCC.
That's good. How about you? How do you feel?
Well, it's been an intensive week, and we got a lot of work to do. And because CPPCC and NPC is not just a political event, it's also the platforms given to all the big affairs domestically about China. So reporters are running around. You need to running after the members of the CPPCC and the NPC representatives for news stories.
Okay, cool. So my first question to John, I know this is not your first year covering China's 2 sessions, and I know your daily job was actually covering a lot of, political events related to British politics, right? So I heard some viewers told me saying that the CPPCC in China is actually kind of equivalent to the House of Lords in the UK. Do you think those two share some similarities? And what's your take on this?
Well, we have to be careful because the 2 systems are so very, very different. But the CPPCC is an advisory body that's full of experts from around the country, from different walks of life, different parts of society, different sectors, different businesses. So there's a broad range of expertise. And in that sense, you can make a legitimate comparison to the House of Lords in the UK, which also acts as an advisory body. The difference is it also has a legislative power, which the CPPCC does not. So there is a difference there. But the House of Lords is also full of experts from different companies, different sectors, different industries, and it advises on government policy or government law. And to that extent, you can say there's a loose similarity to what the CPPCC does here.
So it sounds to me these 2 political bodies, those members are in these 2 political bodies are more like political advisors, not versus lawmakers, right?
Well, it's an important fact about the body here, the CPPCC, is it is an entirely advisory body. It is full of expertise, as we just said, and it helps laws. Well, essentially, it helps make the laws better. It suggests how to improve things, and it gives practical experience of on the ground in certain industries how those laws can be improved.
Okay, thank you, John. So my next question goes to Dean Yang. So I know you feel a bit exhausted after this long 10-day reporting for the CPPCC.
I guess I cannot deny I'm exhausted for this morning because we need to get up really, really early in the morning in order to attend all the sessions and all the big meetings. Actually, you can see that is a common working condition over there. There's a lot of reporters surrounding one person for an interview and for a few quotes. But I wrote in a story about I wrote a story about the ministers' corridor and also the delegates and the representatives' corridors. So basically, the opportunities and the press conference for all the reporters to ask sharp and tough questions to the members of this conference and also the members of government, and that is a perfect example of it. But for the highlights of the past whole week, it's very hard for us to explain it to the international audiences because the 2 sessions are a major political event, but they're all about domestic affairs in China. So we need to explain and kind of find the right angle to tell the people outside China what are these political events and about. And I got.
Do you have any of the highlights?
I got a report. Actually, I got hold of it this morning, and luckily it updates some of the data for me. like I said, it's in Chinese, but I would try to translate for you simultaneously. The proposals, that's the term used for CPPCC meeting, and for NPC it's called a different kind of proposal because it's about law. Yes. For CPPCC, like John has explained, it's a politically advisory body. So it says there are more than 5,000 proposals submitted to the CPPCC by the end of March the 7th.
Yeah, but before you move on, quick question. So the total number of the proposals of this year's CPPCC, is it more or less than last year? Do you know?
Well, compared to last year, the number is down a little bit. Actually, we've already confirmed this with a few members for the meeting beforehand, before this live stream. And the reason for that is not because the members kind of shirking away from the job. No, because they're trying to increase the quality of the proposals. In order to do that, you need to shrink the number because you cannot cover everything.
Right.
But because they have the members from all sectors of the society, all sectors of the industry, so they can collect, I mean, the CPPCC National Committee, they can collect all the different proposals from those sectors, so they can focus more energy and the effort to deal with the toughest questions and toughest issues. And for this year, and this, by this year I mean the
quality of the proposals overall.
Exactly, and by this year I mean the 13th CPPCC, and this is the second session of it. Since the last session all the way to March 7th of this year, the 5,000 proposals, among them, the document says here, nearly 40%. Here, actually, the exact number is 38.46% of all those proposals are about the economy, which means that the priority of the government, the priority of the advisory body is still about the economy. And in order to make sense, to put those numbers in perspective, I did a quick research on of our reports over the past few days, and the example that I like to use here is to share with audiences here is from Justin Lin, and I think he's more famous with his Chinese name Lin Yifu, and he's former World Bank economist, and he in his speech given to the CPPCC members, all the members, he said that one of the most about the Chinese economy, and I'm reparaphrasing him here. He said one of the most internationally, he said that about Chinese economy, people should maintain confidence. And the reason that the confidence could be maintained for China for the future, for the next few years, is because the difficulties now bothering Chinese economy is mainly about the circle of the economic growth, which means now China, along with a lot of other countries, developed countries as well as the underdeveloped countries, because we are now at the bottom of the growth circle, which means when we climb out of that circle, the economy would be back on track. And another reason that the confidence it could be secured, it could be maintained, is that because now in China, in the case of China, the difficulty is mainly exterior, which means we are feeling, by we I mean China as economy is feeling is from outside China. So presumably, he didn't say this, but presumably by exterior pressure, he meant the trade friction between China and the US. Presumably that's one of them, but this is my interpretation. And he said that the key words for the future development at least in this year is for China to cut tax for the small business, for the business or in general. And another point is to enhance the infrastructure of the Chinese economy, because you need to put down the right infrastructure, especially when they are cheap to do this. And by infrastructure, actually, it's a wide range. The first one is the thing that you can see, like 5G, and like the super highway. Maybe you cannot see a network, but you get the point. And another thing is you need to restructure the economy. That is also the things that would unleash more power of the economic growth. And another example I'd like to give, apart from the economy that's been discussed during the two sessions, during the CPPCC, another point I'd like to talk about is another internationally recognizable face, which is Yao Ming. Because Yao Ming is, it's really hard for you to miss the guy among all the delegates, among all the members. Because
you are a basketball fan.
Well, I'm a basketball fan. It's not because he is really tall. He's above the average height of all the members here. And his proposal is interesting. It's about a campaign to promote the basketball among Chinese children, because his philosophy is about the education of a professional sport shouldn't be independent of the education in general, shouldn't be independent of a Chinese education system. But at the moment, these two systems are kind of independent to each other. If you want to be a professional player of any sport, you need to attend a professional training center instead of a regular school, a common school. And his proposal is about to merge the two together. And the reason that I want to share the proposals of these two is because, okay, this is how international recognizable members of the CPPCC, how they participate in China's domestic politics, and that will tell you more, not just about the proposals, but also more about how CPPCC works in general.
Thank you, Dean. Okay, so now we're about to wrapping up our live stream for today's closing ceremony of the CPPCC. So in just about 2 days, the MPC is about to hold their closing session as well. So our international editor, John Goodrich, will bring you more on that. See you guys next time. Bye.